What's up, baby? And it is time for a space talk. Obviously, Steelers falling a little bit short tonight, Monday Night Football, 16-10 to those Miami Dolphins. Ugh. But a lot to, digest. Some good stuff. Obviously, we have some negative and everything like that, man. But as a whole, though, man, definitely got something that we're gonna get into, baby. So, with that being said, man, make sure y'all like the stream. Let me know where you're tuning in from, and I'll give you those big boy shout outs to start the show like we always do, baby. All right, let's see where we tuning in from, baby. Where we tuning in from? All right, we got Mr. Steele tuning in from Salisbury, Maryland. Shout out Mike Hood, the 614. All right, let's see who else we got in the building. Darius Morgan tuning in from Indiana. All right, I see you. Let's see who's that. Devin Hebert, Delaware, the 302. Shout out Darius Morgan, the 260 as well. The Brobarian 757, aka the Crib. Big time salute to you. Alright. Soviet Bear. Soviet Bear. Excuse me for that one. Tuning in from the 330 Canton. Alright. Donald Copeland, shaking my freaking head. Growing pains. But tuning in from the 412, the Hill District. Yeah, growing pains. Yes, indeed. Leah Warren tuning in from Killeen, Texas, as always. We got a big time salute her. Craig Ellis, what it do, baby? The 717, Lancaster, PA, and I will finish with Big Facts, the 412, the South Side. All right. So, a lot to, like I said, when we first talked about this game, man, mixed bag. I think offensively, first quarter was kind of sluggish. Thought second quarter was some of the best this offense has looked, man, in terms of Kenny Pickett, these receivers, the running game, offensive line protection. Thought we really looked good in that second quarter. Second half, largely for the offense, I thought was stagnant for multiple reasons, man. Some of it, was what the Dolphins were doing defensively. Some of it was in terms of the receivers not really getting the separation that we would need from them on a consistent basis. And then some of it obviously was on Kenny. But then I thought at the end, the two end of the game drives, the two-minute drives by Kenny and the offense, at times they looked really good in terms of moving the ball, being able to hit some of the open receivers, and just have this offense looking like it was going to go ahead and find a way to close it out. But the reoccurring thing, or the thing that happened on both of those particular drives in the fourth quarter to end the game, were interceptions, man. And we'll obviously talk a lot about what happened on those interceptions and stuff like that, man, but that's a part of it. When you're talking about this offense under Kenny Pickett, you're going to have some of those growing pains. You're going to have that inconsistency that we talk about at times where, this offense can look really good and like it's competent in varsity. And then at times we feel like, man, this offense got to get going a little bit more. And it's hard to just pinpoint what exactly it is, right? Stop me when y'all heard that before, right? So don't want to come up here and sound like I'm belaboring. But, all right, I say a little more volume on me. All right. Let me get y'all right then. Boom. But, let's hit this volume button. I got y'all. Shout out to y'all too, man, for getting me right, letting me know. All right. Let's get to you real quick. But I say, gotta make sure y'all can hear me clear when I'm spitting. When I spit, baby. All right, so that should have us square. All right. Now, let me know if y'all got that volume right. If y'all can hear me good, let me know. All right, salute y'all. Appreciate you letting me know that is better. All right. There we go. But continuing on, though, with this offense, stuff like that, man, like I said, first quarter, thought they looked good. Second quarter, I thought the offense looked good. First quarter and third quarter were really stagnant. Fourth quarter, when we got to those final two drives, man, I thought the offense really was picking it up, man, really doing some things that had them looking like they were going to be in position to go ahead and win this game. But unfortunately, we saw at the end of both of those drives in the fourth quarter how they ended, right? Just young mistakes, man. And in terms of what happened on them, for the first interception, the Javon Holland one, literally, it's just cover 3. He shows a nice disguise in terms of holding his disguise high to give it the illusion of it being a cover 2 look or a split safety look. So Kenny, man, he's just staring down Deontay thinking that he has something that's there. And if it was cover 2, that would be where you want to go with the ball. But it's cover 3. That's the down safety in terms of the lid safety in that particular defense right there. And he just is able to, trick the young quarterback. It happens. And then obviously on the final interception too, I'm not even going to butcher his name. Actually, I am going to butcher his name. You know the dude. Inhagnigi. I think that's how you say it. But, for him, man, I thought that was just a heck of a play. Obviously, Kenny trying to give the receiver a little bit of opportunity. And, man, dude finds a way to not just go up there and get it, but get 2 feet in bounds. So you tip your cap to him on that. But like I said, a part of that, man, is just growing pains in the sense when you're talking about a young quarterback. And this is just the give and take with a young player like Kenny. Different in terms of what we talk about with Mitch, in the sense of with Mitch, the issue is getting him to unwind it a little bit more, right? And play a little bit less protective. Whereas with Kenny, we say he's going to be a little bit more aggressive. Now, with that, we do have those feelings of, man, this offense looks like they can roll, looks like they can get some stuff done. But then at times we see the turnovers and how that continues to kind of pop up right now. That's a part of his youth. But when you look at him, you see some of the positive things. What do we hang our hat on with this offense, with Kenny in particular? Well, you talk about some of the blitz action, right? In terms of him always understanding where to go with the ball. And most of the time, his decision-making being good. You talk about him not feeling like he's rattled or the moment being too big. Just because he throws an interception in a critical moment, that doesn't mean the moment is too big, but it is a teaching lesson in the sense of you got to just read the coverage. And that is some of the stuff that he is going to have to continue to improve upon. But this is what you expect when you have a guy that's going into his, I think it's fourth game. So he's still very young in that element of it. But like I said, man, just a different dynamic in terms of highs and lows that you deal with the rookie versus, we were having with Mitch and stuff like that. But either way, I do think it's a lot that you hang your hat on for Kenny. In terms of some of the throws he was making, the back shoulder throw that he throws the touchdown pass to George Pickens. I loved that right there, man. Giving this guy a chance, good ball placement on it, and obviously Pickens going up and doing what he does. Also thought that when you talk about Kenny in terms of just work in the middle of the field, Pat Frymuth, especially once again on those late fourth quarter drives, man, Frymuth was the guy. He was the guy that he was trying to target, and obviously Frymuth was winning in a good amount of those. Let me see what he actually ended with. Yeah, Pat Frymuth ended with, 8 catches, 75 yards. So like I said, man, really, really good by him. 9.4 per catch. The productivity was there, and that was on 9 targets. So efficient also. George Pickens, I was a little upset we didn't target him more because he was one of those dudes, man, where he looked like he was primed to have a big night. But after that touchdown, we really took a while to come back to him, man. But 6 catches for him, 61 yards, 10.1 per average catch. And he obviously had the touchdown, man. Big time salute for him getting his first NFL touchdown. So hopefully that's the first of many to come. But like I said, man, this offense, we're seeing what it can do in glimpses, in little spurts. But this is a part of just being young. This is a part of the growing pains. It's also a part of Matt Canada as well, man. He continues to have to be more consistent. But I can't ignore that second quarter and those 2 drives in the fourth. But we just need more of it. We can't have those lulls in the action where, like I said, it just feels really stagnant. Now, when we're looking at Steelers on defense, some of the takeaways I have for them, just initially missed opportunities. 4 dropped interceptions that I counted. 2 of them in the red zone. You had one by Cam Sutton. He has 2 hands on that football. Got to come down with it. Levi Wallace, he had 1 in the red zone. He got to come down with it. As a whole, Levi Wallace, I think, had 2 drop picks. Sutton had a drop pick, and then Minka probably had 1 that he should have been able to come down with. As a whole, man, versus a team like the Dolphins, what do we say? We said, man, you got to keep the lid on the defense, tackle the catch. For the majority of the night, they did that. We knew Tyreek and Jalen were going to make some plays, but for the majority of the time, they tackled the catch. They never allowed that big, explosive play to happen. But the other issue was not being able to capitalize on some of these opportunities that Tua gave them. Because if you get those two picks are in the red zone. Now you're not looking at a touchdown on one of those drives and a field goal on the other one. I do think that gives you a little bit more of a difference. But as a whole, I thought this defense did what they needed to do. Outside of that first quarter, and we talked about, it's one thing when you're seeing our receivers in practice and our practice squad guys versus when you get in that stadium and it's actually Tyreek Hill over there and you're like, oh, he's really fast. Jalen Waddle, he's really fast. Man, what is going on here? I thought in that first quarter, man, we were, kind of caught in the headlights, started a little bit slower. But after that first quarter, I thought the defense definitely made the adjustment they needed to make. I thought coming out of the halftime, we played a lot more of the Tampa 2 look, which was really good because it allowed them to not only get hands on these receivers, pressing them up front, but also giving them some help up top and having that middle run. And man, it was highlighted a couple of times with some of the linebackers in terms of what they were able to do to just make it a little bit more difficult on that Miami Dolphins offensive passing attack. But like I said, for the defense, man, I thought they responded every single time they needed to, especially late in the game, man. The interception, obviously the second Kenny Pickett pick, I thought that, that was one of those ones where, man, the Dolphins, it's like, dude, they're down 6. They're getting the ball back. It's 4 minutes left. This is about to be it. They're going to go ahead and, ice the game, so to speak. But we find a way to get a stop, get Kenny the ball back, and then similar concept happens again. But yeah, I thought the defense, man, they definitely did enough to get up out of the stadium, man. But the big thing for them, they have to understand that we don't have the luxury of being able to drop multiple interceptions or allowing 4 of those things to kind of go away like that. We got to capitalize on all of those things. And I feel like when we do that more consistently, we'll be in better positions, man. But that was, like I said, my instant takeaway from the game. And then special teams wise, obviously we had Gunner as the return man, no Steven Sims, obviously at the hamstring pull, but we maintained possession, which was good right there. Boz hit his 1 field goal, so we don't have issue with that 45-yarder. And outside of that one, nasty punt from Presley, I thought the rest of the night he was cool, man. So, like I said, man, as a whole, we see the growth. We see the progress that this team is making. It's just we need more consistency, but this is a part of the youth element. And that's kind of what I looked at. Like, my final takeaway was this is just a young team that's trying to figure out how to win. When you talk about some of these critical moments, there's not a lot of veteran dudes out there where we're looking and saying, oh, they've been in a ton of these situations and always come out on top. Nah, that's not the case. All these dudes are trying to figure out, okay, when I'm in this type of situation offensively, who's going to be that guy to consistently answer it? When I'm in this situation defensively, who are the guys that have consistently been in those scenarios? It's not a lot of them out there. I mean, we talk Cam Hayward. He's one of those guys. But outside of him, we're looking around. It's like, man, it's kind of scarce offensively and defensively in that capacity. And I do think at times when we're talking about the close scoring games, that is a little bit of a difference maker right there, man. But they will continue to improve with that, man. But got another tough one coming up this week, baby. Absolutely. But let's see, man. So we got some supers coming in. I will go ahead and hit those. Make sure y'all like the stream if y'all have not done so, and subscribe to the channel if you haven't as well, man. But either way, appreciate all of y'all that are in the building with me tonight. Alrighty. See, there's 86. That's painful. Yeah, that definitely hurt, man. Obviously, it hurt too, man, when you think about how it was ending, man. You get that hope. You get that feeling like, oh, we're about to find a way to go ahead and get up out of here with a dub. Like, everything was feeling like that on both of those fourth quarter, 2-minute, 4-minute drives and everything like that, man. I still can't believe we didn't get up out that thing with a dub. Everything aligned. It was perfect, man. It was perfect. But we live and we learn. We live and we learn. Staying Main 21 says, bruh. Oh, Lolly. Good job by Kenny. But we could have had that game. Tuning in from Riverside, California. Shout out to Riverside. Yeah, that's definitely one of those ones that we should have had, man. For Kenny, man. Yeah, as a large majority of the game was fine. Large majority of the game, you saw some of the good that he was doing. But unfortunately, this is a part of just young quarterbacks, man. They're going to have these type of growing pains. They're going to suck like that at times, but you can see the positive as well. Because in both of those fourth quarter interceptions, like I said, that first one to Chase, we can make a debate. Was it pass interference? Was it Chase needing to keep his feet? Either way, I'm not losing my mind over that one way or the other. I think that Kenny's making a good read. I like the opportunity that he's giving Chase. Is it going to be bang, bang between the outside corner and the safety coming over? Absolutely. But this is the NFL, man. You got to give your receivers some chances. So we can't account or anticipate Chase Claypool falling slash the hand fighting that was going on. It's just an unfortunate thing. But the other two interceptions specifically, those are the ones where you want him cleaning that up. But that's a part of just being a young player, man. I thought, like I said, that second pick, man, the one by Javon Holland, I thought that was just a really good disguise by him, man, holding it late, showing a too high look, and then just dropping down as the lead safety to go ahead and get that interception, man. But that's some of, like I said, some of the stuff that you deal with. But we can't fault, or we can't only focus on the negative without simply talking about the other element of it as well, in terms of how we even got in those positions to get those interceptions down deep like that, man. It started off with us having some progress, man. So like I said, not excusing it, but just context of the pros and cons of rookie quarterback versus pros and cons of the other situations that we were dealing with as well. Let's go, UW. Was that Kenny put there or Justin Fields? Oh no, don't you do that. Oh man. But speaking of Justin Fields, it just made me think about, how much he likes to run at times and stuff like that. And it has been interesting, man. Some of these running situations now for Kenny, man, just getting caught a little bit more. And I think that's for him, man, just understanding the speed of this game, man. Stuff that, in college you could run and you're always going to win these foot races with some of these linemen. I think right now, man, that's also something that he's getting adapted to, man, because you're seeing him come up short a couple of times with that. But I'm still enjoying the decisiveness in some of those situations. Now, could he make those decisions a little bit faster? Yes. And I think he will. Or in certain situations, does it make more sense to actually pull the ball and run? We can make a case for on that last interception. It's like, hey, man, yeah, you could have ran it, but you're giving the receiver a chance. We don't like the result, but I don't hate the decision, if that makes sense. All right, because obviously we're gonna always have an opinion after the fact. Oh man, it was a turnover. Why'd you throw it? Oh, if it was a touchdown, they'd be saying, "Hey man, heck yeah, it's the dude, right?" But in terms of the decision, I don't fault him saying, "Hey man, I don't want to run and try to get this with my legs. I want to give this guy a chance with my arm," because, like I said, man, it's one of them things where in that particular moment, I don't hate that. But that is something that obviously he's going to go back and look at and kind of, play that game of if he would have done it or if he could do it over, would he do it again? And when we get to all 22, we'll see some more context with that one, the third one in particular. Like I said, that the second one, like I said, is good disguised by the Dolphins, man. All right. Calculated snipe. He says wide receivers couldn't get separation. Interceptions couldn't catch. Yeah, those are the two, man. Our wide receivers at times, they did not get a lot of separation. I understand why we were doing a lot of the crossing routes, because that was also something that I felt at times. It was like, we're not getting a ton of separation, but we're also not challenging their secondary to that same extent. It was partially because on tape, the Dolphins ran a ton of man-to-man, like a lot of it, So when you're facing a man-to-man defense, the way you beat that is crossing routes, stuff where you're, picks, rubs, you're making those DBs have to communicate. But what the Dolphins did, they combated that with doing a little bit more zone concepts. And you just get guys running, but their DBs are still having eyes down looking, and they did a good job of tackling the catch as well. So that was a part of that in terms of the receivers not getting the consistent separation. And we talked about the 4 interception opportunities, the 4 clear-cut ones, not even talking about some of the, oh man, could you get this off of a tip? You got a chance to get over there. Not even going to those, but we did have 4 where I definitely felt we should have been able to get those interceptions, man. AJ Martinez. What up, AJ? He says, pick it. I see what he did there. Pick it. Come on, young man. No excuses, he blew it. Yes, he's young. He's a professional. He needs to close, period. We looked a lot better. Yeah, we definitely did look a lot better. And yeah, obviously, the standard is the standard. So yeah, it's easy to just say, yeah, everybody got to play perfect every single time. But we know that that's not always the case, man. But the optimism is some of the good stuff that we saw. For the people that are trying to support him, you say, hey, man, you hang your hat on, some of the throws that he was making on possession downs. You hang your hat on some of the decisiveness that he had and just some of the leadership qualities that he was showing in terms of getting the offense back when they were going for it on 4th downs. Man, some of his command at the line of scrimmage, even though the plays didn't necessarily end in productivity, I did like his demeanor in terms of him checking plays and stuff like that. But in terms of him blowing it at the end, Yeah, the 2 interceptions, that definitely hurt 100%. No, it's no surprise in that. There's something he'll learn from, though, and rightfully so. But doesn't every quarterback go through this? Doesn't every player go through these growing pains? That's the thing that we can't lose sight of. Now, we don't want these to continue, but this is a part of it. So we shall see, man. But this is what we got to ride with, baby, for right now, at least. Lou Bo, bump that Moats. They said Pickett was equal to or better than True Bisky. And what we've seen last week compared to this week is not the same. Now, everybody had their varying opinions on that right there. For the pro-Kenny crowd, yes, that was their argument. Oh, Kenny could give you exactly what Mitch can give you. For the pro-Mitch crowd, they were saying, no, he can't, man. Mitch has issues. Got to believe in him. Then, we've seen a little bit of both. We've seen some of the pros and some of the cons from both. Regardless of who we think is the better quarterback today, that doesn't matter. The decision has been made. It's going to be Kenny Pickett in terms of getting those opportunities. So we can't live in the past and constantly go back and say, man, it should be Mitch out there. It should be Mitch out there. Yeah, we can make a case for that. 100%, sure. But that doesn't matter. Right now, what matters is how does Kenny improve going forward? Because, like I said, he's still doing some positive things. The decision-making, those are some of the little stuff where when you're talking about Mitch, his decision-making is very different. But there's a reason why Mitch doesn't have as many turnovers, but that's also part of the knock on Mitch, right? We say that Mitch is going to always or predominantly make a ton of high percentage throws, even if the situation doesn't necessarily agree with it. And we talked about that analogy of if it's 1st and 10, man, you could throw this 3-yard out to the running back. He could pick up 4 yards and you live with that versus zone. It's fine. But when it's 3rd and 10, I don't want you throwing that ball with this 3-yard out right now. I want you to take a shot downfield to try to pick up a first down. That was some of the stuff that Mitch wasn't doing consistently up until last week. But that was also the first time where he actually was able to play and not have to look over his shoulder, worried about Kenny coming on the field and stuff like that. So we get his dynamic, we get his element of this thing as well. But when you talk about Kenny, man, we can see when Kenny is on, the consistency is there. The way he's able to move the offense, the way he's able to utilize his legs, some of the positivity and stuff like that. But he's also very aggressive, right or wrong. He's going to do that. So that's also part of it, man. And that's why you see his interception numbers, even though, when you're talking about his sample size versus Mitch's sample size in terms of passing and opportunities, it's like, man, one guy has a lot more interceptions than the other, but it's because one guy's a lot more aggressive than the other, man. So, like I said, there's pros and cons to both of their styles, but this is what we wanted to roll with. So when Coach Tomlin made that movement, this is what we have to deal with. But that's why we talk about this defense. You can't miss out on those opportunities. And that's the give and take to this thing. Yes, a lot of this is going to fall on Kenny. But at the same time, when you talk about those 4 opportunities on defense to get turnovers, that's what you're looking at them. You're saying, hey, man, we got to be better. We got to pick that up because we know it's a young quarterback over there. And you're not always going to get perfection from a young guy. That's just how it works in the NFL. Mike Hood, the 5 dropped INTs. So you said 5. I thought I had him at 4. That's like I said, man, definitely could have been off. The 5 dropped interceptions hurt Jugs machines for the entire back end. Kenny was 32 for 44, 257 yards, but 3 picks hurt. Still a rookie. Yeah, man. When we talk about the numbers, and it's a reason why I don't come up here and talk a lot about, oh man, Kenny was 22 of 38 or 32 of 44 for 257, because we understand, and with that, it's just a lot that goes into those numbers at times, man. Some of it, it's garbage time. Some of it, it's situational. Some of it is more on the receivers. You know what I mean? So it's a lot that kind of goes in that. But regardless of the final stat line, I do think that Kenny played well in spurts. But once again, when you're talking about a rookie, that is a part of it. It's not always going to be this full game performance. Now, we see him expanding and getting closer and closer, but this is a part of just being a young player, man. You're going to challenge some things. You're going to see, okay, man, in college, I could have made this throw and the safety not be fast enough to get down here. Well, in the NFL, now I just realized, okay, this guy is fast enough to get down here. It's a hard lesson, but you learn it. All right, I learned, okay, right here. Instead of me trying to give my receiver a chance at a 50-50 ball, maybe I should just pick up the first down with my legs and get out of bounds, live to play another down. But that's some of the stuff that as a quarterback or as a rookie just in general, you're figuring that out, man. It's not as simple as we like to, make it. Oh, man, you're a good player. Just go out there and execute every single time. You would love that, but that's, part of the NFL in terms of why you have the parity, in terms of why you have, some guys that look great, some guys that are like up and down. It's like, oh man, all right, I get it. That's just how tough this level is, man. And for Kenny, man, he's understanding that. But he also has to get some help as well. And that's the other part of this thing. So we're not going to solely put it on him, because when you talk about it, at times the wide receivers and their separation, it has to be more consistent. When you talk about Matt Cannon and some of the play calling, it can't always be lateral. And at times it works, but at times we can see how it limits us. And that's some of the stuff for him as well. So like I said, Kenny's going to get highlighted because he was the one that threw the 2 interceptions at the end. But this is not all about him, man, specifically. So like I said, that's just a part of it. Alrighty. Lou Bo. Shout out to Lou Bo. Oh, actually, man, oh, here we go. Moats. You could have threw that ball to Pickens. Man, I ain't taking that. I am not a quarterback in the NFL. No. Don't you put that on me, baby. Mm-mm. But either way, if I could or could not have, Kenny was the one who threw it on Sunday Night Football, man, and gave George Pickens an excellent chance to go up and get that rock. So we can't discredit that. That's all. But in terms of, can he do more of it? Can he be better? Sure. But that one, nah, man, he's definitely threw a nice, beautiful throw right there, man. All right, hot sub. Steelers 0-4 versus AFC East teams. Is it more to blame with having a young team or the style of play of this division? No, honestly, man, I do feel like the young team element is real. Let's talk about the 4 losses, right? All right, Buffalo's a buzzsaw. Okay, cool. That was also Kenny's first start on the road, hostile environment. We had injuries. We get that. Cool. Patriots game. What do we say in that one? It's like, man, we had a lot of opportunities where it's like, yeah, we still probably could have got up out of that thing. Offensively, weren't as explosive as we needed to be. Left some plays out there as well. And then Mac Jones made a couple throws at the end of the game. All right, we tip our cap to him. The Jets game, similar concept, right? We talk about how Zach Wilson, we were getting to him, but not able to contain him. And ultimately, his extending of plays really cost us. But also, their wide receivers were having some success against our DBs. So I don't think that that's necessarily a style of play thing. I do think the youth element is real, though. I do think that the learning how to win tight games, how to execute every single time in those critical moments is real. And it's not something that a lot of young players just, come right into the NFL and are able to pick up right away. You look around the league globally, too. It's a lot of rookies, man, high-end picks as well, man, that struggle to do it consistently for 4 quarters week in and week out. We just happen to have a lot more of those players right now at some of the more prominent positions, or guys just making their first opportunities of being full-time stars and full-time roles and stuff like that. So it's a part of it, man. But like I said, they will get better. The consistency will come. But don't look at it as necessarily the AFC East style of play. Oh, man, we don't match up with it. No, it's not that we don't match up with it, because you look at 3 of those 4 games, we matched up extremely well with them. And we can make a case that we should have won 3 of those 4 games. But when you're talking about the minutia, in terms of Coach Thomas, his words, those little details, those little moments, man, that's the difference right now where we're at versus the Jets team, versus that Patriots team, versus that Dolphins team we just played. But all 3 of those teams are kind of, a year or 2 ahead of us in that transitional phase of figuring out how to win without having that mainstay at quarterback, right? Your Big Ben. How do you figure out those ways of winning? The Jets, think about the past couple of years, man. They've been trying to figure it out. And now they're starting to put some wins together. The Dolphins, right? Oh, man, just kind of figuring it out. Now they were able to put some stuff together. The Patriots, since Brady has left, what has it been with them, right? It's like, oh, man, can they figure it out? All right, they got Mac Jones. Okay, now they're starting to get some stuff going on. So with us, we're in that same boat. We're just now at the beginning of that process, whereas those teams have already done it for a couple of years. So for us, like I said, it's going to take some time, but hopefully it doesn't take as long as it took them. 12th Wonder. Shout out to 12th Wonder. They say you either coach it or you allow it to happen. Boy, ain't that the truth. Who's coaching / allowing our offense to be so ineffective? Defense held them to 16. We should win that. I'm tired, boss. Nah, salute you on that, baby. Absolutely. But what coach or what play do you call when Xavier Howard is having a highlight reel of clamping up every receiver that we put on his side? I know y'all saw the same highlight reel that I saw. It was like, dang, man. I mean, I know the dude can get it in, but bro, you ain't got to show this, right? But what do you call? What's the answer to that from a coaching's perspective? And that's the part where I do feel like we kind of lose sight of. The Dolphins did do some positive things out there. They did do some things that were different on tape this game than what they've done the majority of the season. They didn't blitz as much either. We saw later in the game, it was what? They were rushing 4 guys playing coverage. And not man-to-man coverage, zone concepts where they could have eyes on the young quarterback, eyes on these receivers, and make them have to catch and do, and make them have to run after and stuff like that. That was different. On tape, they had done a lot of blitzing. Remember, they were the highest percentage blitzing defense and one of the highest groups in terms of playing man-to-man coverage. So they even switched to some of their stuff as well. So, like I said, we got to give them some credit. But is this still one of the ones we should have came out with? Absolutely. And is this something that we're going to look back and learn from? I hope so. But, yeah, they still did some positive stuff on their end as well. All right, Farron Bradford. This offense is disgusting. I'm so sick of this. It's very inconsistent, and I am sick of that as well. But in that second quarter, baby, come on now. When we got the click in, no, that wasn't disgusting. Damn, man, we was rolling. Running game was looking good. We had the Najee and Jalen Warren 1-2 punch going on. Come on now, man. You know who's feeling right. Man. But then it dropped off. You're right. It dropped off a clip. Coming out of halftime, I said, bro, I don't know what's going on, where our offense went. This is not what we signed up for. Bring me the team that went into halftime. We need that offense coming back. But then you get the fourth quarter and we started to pick it up again. But once again, it's like, dang. Instead of us being able to get points on the board, we end 2 drives and turnovers. That's the killer right there. That's the backbreaker. So instead of us, worst case scenario, getting out of this thing 17-16, or worst case, you end up kicking 2 field goals and we go into overtime and have that conversation. Instead, we're left here with this feeling of like, dude, I'm pissed off, right? And that's a part of this offense. It's part of this team as a whole, though. But these are the growing pains. Talk about them, but it's different until you actually go through them. Unfortunately, we in the heart of it right now, man. But we can see some positivity. So that is what we hang our hat on in these moments, man. Because otherwise, if we just stick to going negative on top of negative, oh my gosh, it's going to be a long time. Long season. But as we see, man, it's week to week, right? You think about our situation here right now, kind of what we're going through, right? Highs and lows. But you look around the NFL and there's multiple teams going through those same things. Denver Broncos, Tampa Bay Buccaneers, right? Way more loftier expectations than, what a lot of people have for us, especially through the transition that we were making. But, man, they're in the same boats. So it's not that we're the only ones in this thing. And it's not that it's because we don't have enough talent or is this or is that. It's like, nah, man, a lot of teams go through the consistency parts, especially at this time of the year, man. But it's one of those things where the teams that can start to figure it out over these next couple weeks, those are the teams that make the runs in November and December and stuff like that. So hopefully we're one of them. But you got to have some of these games, unfortunately, man, where it's like, hey, we let one slip away. Hey, you got to learn from this. It's part of it, man. It's definitely part of it. But they will. They'll definitely get it. All righty. Steve Hibbins. Shout out to Steve Hibbins. He says, still love the kid, but Pickett lost the game for us. Watch the game with my in-laws from Chile. Shout out. Trying to get a whole another country to join Still a Nation. Nah, man, major respect to you for that. And shout out to your in-laws from Chile, man. That's pretty dope right there. I like that a lot, baby. Absolutely. But yeah, man. It falls on his shoulders, the 2 picks at the end. Sure, they were very impactful. But you always hear me say this. Doesn't matter if it's a quarterback that, throws an interception, if it's a running back fumbling the ball, if it's a defender giving up a touchdown to end the game. It's never just one play. It's never just 2 plays. There's a lot that went into this game that went into us not winning. But it's not solely Kenny Pickett. Yes, he was the one that gets highlighted because he threw the interceptions at the end, but man, you got 4 quarters of football. A lot of dudes out there had plenty of plays that were impactful or plays that should have been impactful that they left out there. Like I said, man, I can't just solely focus on the interceptions that he threw and not be just as upset about the interceptions that we allowed to fall harmlessly to the ground. I mean, they go hand in hand. I want turnovers and I don't want to give our turnovers. I don't want to give takeaways or give turnovers, but I do want to create takeaways. I do want to take the ball, and cause interceptions, cause fumble recovery. So it's a give and take with that. And we had opportunities on both sides and we did not capitalize on them defensively and we gave the ball away too much on offense, man. But like I said, man, it never is just one player in that context. All right, let's go UW. That's why they play defense. They don't have hands. Ah, no, man. Now we know our dudes can catch, and typically they can. And we know that we like to hold them to a high standard because they hold themselves to a high standard. But that is one of those things where it's like, you want to see them come down with some of those ones, man. And we only say this, or I only say this specifically talking about our defense because I know what they're capable of. They've shown it numerous times, man. And that's one of the ones where it's like, when you are coming into games with young quarterbacks or young players on offense, defensively, that has to be your mindset, that we have to do whatever we can to help out those young players, to help out that offense. And that's not something that they just now have heard or just now started talking about. No, that's been the theme for this defense, starting with OTAs. We have to make sure that we're elite. Remember that was the conversation, elite. Now, we understand since TJ has went out that kind of made it a little bit more difficult, but the expectation for them and that defensive side of the ball is to be dominant, is to be elite, is to not allow, those balls in terms of those interceptions to fall like that. They pride themselves on getting those takeaways. And being a person that understands that, it's like, yeah, I know you're capable of that. So it's not that we blame them for it, but they do have a part in this because they are talented enough to make those type of plays. And those type of plays help out young teams, man, especially when you're going to have some of that up and down play from the offense, man. But once again, we talk about growing pains, we talk about learning experiences. That's what this is right here, man. All right. Jaheim Johnson. Shout out to Jaheim Johnson. Should we draft Bryce Young with our top 5 pick? Man, we'll see if we're in the top 5, bro. I don't see it just yet, man. But hey, man, if you think that's going to be the case, go for it, bro. For me personally, I'm not thinking top 5 at all. I'm definitely not thinking the draft right now, man. We're going into week 8, I believe it is. So yeah, man, I'll think draft when it's draft time, but I am not in a hurry to get back to that just yet. But we do got the homie Dante Baker joining the upper room. So Dante, welcome to the upper room. Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed, baby. Let's get it. Let's get it. All right. Let's see. We have Farron Bradford. Shout out to the homie Farron Bradford. And shout out to each and every one of y'all that's rocking with me tonight too, man. Y'all know I always appreciate that, even on the late night primetime action. But Farron Bradford says, does our offensive coordinator have the potential to maximize our offense's potential? I'm not speaking on play calling. I'm speaking in terms of coach and schematics. When you're talking specific coaches and schematics, it boils down to more than just Matt Canada. That's, every coach that's on this offensive side of the ball, because the position coaches are the one that really teach technique, teach detail. Coordinator, big scheme, pitcher, mentality, right? Offensive identity, play calls. That's coordinator. When you're talking techniques, when you're talking about really maximizing Najee, that's not on Canada. That's on running backs coach. You talk about maximizing these wide receivers. That's not on Canada. Canada is tasked with scheming plays up for them, but you said not specifically talking about scheme. You're talking coaches and stuff like that, man, in terms of the detailing of their work. So that's some of the stuff, like I said, is more position coach related. Now, we can go down that list as well. When you lose games, everybody comes under fire. So I get it. But at the same time, we weren't hollering about any of that last week, right? Last week it was, man, dude, we figuring this stuff out, man. We done knocked off the Bucks, man. We looking good. Let's go. Now, this week, it's like, yo, man, I don't know if these guys are really capable, if these guys are actually good enough. No, it's not that simple, man. Like I said, man, when you have a young team in transition the way that we are in right now, and it's not, like I said, just at one position. It's multiple positions where we have a lot of new faces out there. And when you look at the staff, talk about the coordinator position, we got new faces there as well. Everybody is going through that phase right now, man. And it's not just new faces, it's new unproven faces, right? When you're talking specifically at Matt Canada, when you're talking about a Kenny Pickett, when you're talking about a Terrell Austin, it's like, man, some of these dudes we're trying to see, all right, well, not Terrell Austin because obviously he's had success as a coordinator, but as a whole, we're trying to see, hey, who can do this efficiently? Who can do this consistently? Who is NFL capable and who isn't? But that's the part of what we're looking at as well, man, because for Matt Canada, this is a big evaluation for him, man. The same way we talk up here about Kenny Pickett and this offense and this defense, he's another guy that's heavily evaluated, and that's no secret. So just know that that's all a part of it because of how unproven we are at all these spots as well, man. All right. And then Farron Bradford also says, we could take the INTs if we got touchdowns also from 8. I feel you. I definitely feel you. We did get one this week. That's a plus, right? Yeah, you know. All right. I was trying to get an excuse for that one right there. I don't have one. All right. Yes, we do want more touchdowns from KP8. 100%. That is a part of, the expectations for him. And that is some of the areas where he can improve upon. Absolutely. But that's not exclusively on Kenny either. But that is definitely something that we want more of if you're going to have the turnovers. 100%, man. I'm with you on that. And I don't think that's too much to ask for either, man. So don't feel like that's a big ask. Nah, if you're going to turn it over, man, give us some touchdowns. But we also know that all those picks are not on him, man. So we don't want to create that narrative either. Let's go UW. This year feels like 2021 without the fluke luck. That's an interesting take. I can understand that, but at the same time, it's still early, right? When you talk about some of the fluky stuff that was happening a year ago, it was around like that mid-season time, man. Then we started to pick it up, and then before you know, we're in the playoffs. So, yeah. I mean, we still got time for the fluky stuff, but I don't think we necessarily need the fluky stuff. I just think if we make the plays that we're supposed to make, the plays that are actually available to us in these games, I think we get out of some of these stadiums. Like, just think about tonight. Was it a ton of what the Dolphins were doing, or was it a ton of us making mistakes or us leaving opportunities on the field? When you talk about the Kenny interceptions, right? We said, man, some of that, that's us. Some of that we can, read this coverage a little bit better right here. All right, cool. Better decision right here. Okay, cool. Claypool, all right. Hey, man, the 50-50 in terms of you getting tripped, PI, however we want to call it, we ain't tripping on that. But defensively, we said what, man? Opportunities, right? A couple of passes that we could have had interceptions. So we see the both in terms of the give and take. So it's not necessarily fluky stuff that we need to work for or that we need to have happen for us to be successful. If we just make the plays that are available to us, we are sitting fine right now. But that is back, like I said, going back to young team trying to learn how to win consistently. That's a part of it. Just being able to constantly make those plays in critical moments. Being able to, when I gotta have it right now, I make this play. Like, I don't say, oh, dang, man, should have had it, clap my hands. You can't have that. Because we saw the difference tonight. When you leave those opportunities out there, offensively or defensively, it opens the door. Because, yeah, that Dolphins team, to me, man, they're not like that, man. They're not. And we saw that. Everybody felt like that. Like I said, that first quarter, yes, they were explosive. They were doing some cool stuff. But after that, it went back to the Miami Dolphins that we all been talking about. They're going to force feed that thing, trying to get it to Tua. I mean, trying to get it to Tyreek, trying to get it to Jalen. And you tackle the catch, man. Make them have to keep snapping the ball. And they're not going to be able to execute to that extent like that. And for the majority of the time, that was how it was working. But the consistency wasn't enough. So we'll be all right, though. Like I said, we will definitely be fine. Ryan Har. Man, I butchered that. Ryan Har. Something like that. Okay, Ryan H. Thoughts on Najee's performance? Oh, man. I thought at times in the first half, I thought he was running really hard. That second quarter specifically, I was really enjoying what I was seeing from him, man. Some of the stuff that he was doing in terms of just extending drives, making guys miss, the spin moves, the stiff arms, the explosiveness. He looked healthy. He looked good. He looked fun. Then after that, I don't know, man. It kind of went back to almost like two finesse. The one play that like drove me nuts. 3rd and 1. Gets the ball, and he's like jumping in the air. I think it was the DB that ends up tackling him in the backfield, man. That was the one for me where I was just like, Najee, just be physical. Like, you're more than capable of it. And when you do it, when he's decisive and he's just going, man, this dude is so tough to bring down. But at times when you see him kind of overthinking it and almost in a sense trying to get too cute in certain elements, man, that's the frustrating part right there. So, like I said, that was kind of my thoughts on his performance. I thought that second quarter was really good. But like I said, in the second half, I just wanted to see a little bit more physicality in terms of when he's running that ball, being mean, being a menace, so to speak, man. But at least he's looking healthier. That's a positive. Like, in all seriousness, to me, this was probably the healthiest he's looked this season in terms of just his cuts, his vision and stuff like that. But still, you can see he still has, plenty of more areas to improve upon. But shoot, I can't talk about him and not talk about Jaylen Warren as well, man, because Jaylen, dude, holy cow. I like what I see from Jaylen, man. I'm liking it a lot. I can't lie to you, man. He continues to look good, man. He continues to look good. But, yeah, I still, like I said, man, you still got to get Najee up to speed, man. You still have to have him. You want to lean on him late in the season, man. So, for him, good to see him being more healthier. Good to see him improving this week. But still want to have him being a lot more physical running that rock when he's, especially in the second half, man. He's too big to not be running that rock or running through a DB's face on 3rd and 1, period. All right. AJ Martinez, we could beat the Eagles. Our secondary let us down big time. Hold on. Let me say that. Yeah, we could beat the Eagles. Our secondary let us down big time. We are looking better. 8 looks like 9 Drew Brees. We will be good moving forward. All right. I wouldn't say that he looks like Drew Brees all the way, but shout out to, yeah, cool, absolute. Just, protect the ball, keep learning, keep growing. We're going to be all right. We'll work with you. In terms of our secondary, I don't think our secondary let us down. No. I thought first half, or first quarter, we struggled. If we're talking specifically about the missed turnover opportunities, yes, but I still look at what they were able to do as a whole for 4 quarters. Specifically, keeping both Tyreek and Jalen Waddle under 100 yards receiving. Neither of them having touchdowns. Their longest catch, one is 25 yards, one is 21 yards. So they kept a lid on this defense, man. The Trent Sherfield, shout out to Trent too, man. I forgot he was in Miami. Actually, it's my young boy, man. We was out in AZ together for a little bit, man. But he had the longest reception of the night, 32-yarder. So our secondary, man, they did their part, man, in terms of tackling the catch, keeping a lid on it, not allowing the explosive play, not allowing these receivers to really, take over the game. It was just their interceptions, If they capitalize on those, man, it adds to this. We're sitting here feeling a lot better, but still was straight, though, man. They still did what they needed to do. Let's see. Brian Shurin. Oh, yeah, make sure you're hitting that like, too, man, now that I think about it. I feel like I'm supposed to say that like every couple of, 20 minutes, every 10 minutes, something like that. Yeah, so hit the like button, man. Hit that subscribe button too. And hit the notification bell if you have not done so just yet. All right, we got Brian Shurin. He says, Matt Canada needs to go. 2 games where we give up 17 points or 17 points or less, and we lose both. Also, last in the league in points per game. Unacceptable. No, we got to score better. Absolutely. And sure, if you want to get rid of Canada after the season, all right, cool. But you get rid of him right now, do you think the offense is going to improve? Or is it going to look more like what we're currently seeing? Or potentially worse? That's what we have to understand in terms of in-season, those type of moves. So to me, I'm not saying you fire him. I'm saying, hey, man, we keep getting or building out more of the positive moments. That second quarter, those 2 drives in the fourth quarter. How do we get more of that? That's what we're trying to figure out, right? And once again, part of it, when we talk specifically second quarter and those 2 fourth quarter drives, you have to, in a sense, highlight Matt Canada because he did make adjustments offensively from what was happening in the first and what was happening in the third. Problem is, you don't want him waiting a whole quarter to make those adjustments. You want him to be able to make those adjustments a lot faster. And when you talk about some of the better coaches in the league, man, they just do it a lot sooner. It's not we got to wait a quarter and a half or we got to get to the locker room to do this. No, they're able to get it in the same series. They're able to get it, the next series when they come out. They're like, hey, man, they're doing this on possession downs. All right, we're going to switch to this. That's the stuff right now where we're trying to see with Matt Canada. Can he consistently make those type of adjustments? Can he consistently anticipate what these coordinators are going to try to do to attack our offense and specifically our young quarterback. And when you think about young quarterbacks, the way you attack them, you're either blitzing them and you want to have a ton of disguise, a ton of pressure to make them play faster, make them not have time to process everything, or you play a lot of coverages and everything looks crazy. Man, is it single high? Is it double high? All right, is it Tampa 2? Is it regular 2? Is it 2-man? You try to do those things. All right. So for Matt Canada, he has to understand that and just get a better feel of when they're going to do what they're going to do. And from there, try to call calls that are going to, number one, give these receivers the best chance to be, available to Kenny, and then calling stuff that Kenny's going to feel comfortable with out there. And from my perspective, what I've seen from Kenny thus far, man, he's getting a lot more comfortable in this offense. His decision making is improving. It's just at quarterback, you make a couple decisions that are bad there, it's a turnover. If this is wide receiver, man, we can point to some plays from George Pickens where it's like, all right, this wasn't the best play, but it doesn't kill you. You could talk about on defense. Hey, man, Miles Jack, you can't backdoor this, but it doesn't kill you. When it's the quarterback that makes those bad reads or a bad play, even if it's a handful of them, those typically end in turnovers. And that's the critical part about being young in this league, but at the quarterback position. Everybody else can make a mistake and it's not heightened. It doesn't matter as much. That quarterback makes that mistake, man, we see how it kills you at times, man. So that's the, when you're really boiling, or what it really boils down to is that at times, man. And tonight was just kind of, what it kind of went to in a sense, man. All right. AJ Martinez, my man Moats, much respect to you with the family on Instagram. You all look happy. I personally miss the days when I was married. Life, what can you say? Yeah, man, no. Life can be insane. One of my favorite lines from Jeezy, man, minus the BS, life is great. Because trust me, regardless of who you are, where you are at any point in your life, there's plenty of BS that goes on. But outside of that, man, yes, life is great, man. So yeah, I do appreciate you though, man. I do try to put out the positivity that me and my fam get to share. Always good, man. Have me out there at a high school game. I ain't chilled at the high school football with the fam. Man, I can't remember the last time we done that, man. But that was a good time, man. It was definitely a good time. So definitely appreciate you, AJ, man. Hey, as long as you keep staying positive, man. I know how you hang out there, man. You still living good over there, man. So keep rocking with it one day at a time, baby. You know that. I'm going to support you. I'm going to do that. All right, Lou Bo says him growing is the problem. I seen him for 4 years in college. When he has to scramble or get it, he fails. Against Georgia Tech, he balled. Against Clemson, he failed. In the NFL, every team. So going to be Clemson. Okay. So, I get what you're saying. You're saying that you've seen him for 4 years. In terms of Kenny Pickett. And, versus less competition or the game not as big, he plays well. When it's a big game, he struggles. I hear you on that. I know the easy response is, oh man, we won the ACC championship, man. So clearly that season he put it all together, and we get it. And then for the people that want to dispute that, it's because it was his 6th year, he was just older than everybody, and I get that as well. But in terms of him growing being a problem, I don't necessarily care about what he did in college. And you've heard me say that plenty of times about any of these guys that come up here. It's cool, but college is college. Like the NFL, it is not like anything these players have seen before, man. The talent level across the board, the speed, the detail, everything that comes into this game, man. This league is so unique. So with that, I don't know if he can grow in this. But I am not going to just assume that he can't because of, what it was like for him in college. I'm personally going to hang my hat on the growth and development that we typically see in Pittsburgh from players here, man. And I hang my hat on the fact that the track record has been good with them in terms of developing guys. And then when I cut on the tape and look at Kenny this season, the couple of games that he's played in thus far, I can personally see improvement. I can personally point to certain things, decisions that he's making where it's like, hey, man, this is growth. Now, it's not always going to be linear, and I think that's the thing that we have to remember. Just because the progress isn't linear does not mean it's not happening. Now, yes, it might not be to what we personally want from an expectation standpoint, but it's still progress. And that's the thing for Kenny that he's going through. But that's the thing as fans and supporters of Kenny, that we also have to understand that context, that even though we're going to see some games where he might look really good, you also got to worry about some games where he's going to struggle. That is a part of it, man. But we can't write him off just a couple of games into his rookie campaign just yet. Tyler, where you at? Oh, there we go. Tyler LaQuatra. Shout out to Tyler LaQuatra in the building. Greatly appreciate you. 7 would have won that game. Yeah, I mean, we're not going to disagree with that. I mean, Ben Roethlisberger is a Hall of Fame quarterback who leads the NFL and like come from behind victories or one scored 2-minute drive victories, man. So yeah, we're not going to dispute that. But at the same time, it's some plays that Kenny made tonight where you'd be asking yourself, hey, with 2022 Ben Roethlisberger be able to make those plays? That's one of the things we just will not know. We don't have the answer to. But, you know, we do know that Kenny is out there. So this is one of those ones where I do feel like he's going to learn from it and he'll improve from this situation, man. But we're not going to close that. We're not going to write them off in that sense, man. Yeah. Dondre Ezel. Let's be real, Moats. We're going to have a top 5 pick. I mean, I hear you. But I guess it's kind of like when everybody has been telling me, oh, man, Tom's going to have a losing season. Oh, man, we're going to win 2 games. Oh, man, we're picking the top 5 this year. It's like, we hear this every year. Whenever a couple of bad games, some adversity strikes, we hear this. And then we go on a run. And then we go to Super Bowl, we hear that. And then we lose in the playoffs or something happens adversity-wise. And it's like, oh, man, fire everybody, we got to reset. It's like, no, man, we just got to roll. It's one game at a time. I don't think this team is finishing in the top 5 in terms of the draft. I personally don't. I think this team is still going to find a way to get into the postseason. I do. It's not pretty. But when you're talking about the way that this team is losing, it's not a ton of Buffalo Bills type losses. It's a ton of detail-related losses. Think about the turnovers. Think about everything that happened tonight. And you look at the final score. That's context. Think about it. How many turnovers? Right? And we still had how many opportunities to win this game? You don't hang your hat on that. That's not when you're talking about the talent. When you're talking about how it's literally the difference between, in terms of, and for the audio only crowd, I'm making a small amount of space with my hands, just describing the difference between the elite teams and the struggling teams. It is not a big margin between us, man. But the detail is where we have to improve upon. So blowing it up and panicking is not going to get you there. No, what gets you there is putting your head down, getting back to work, learning from what you did positive in this game, but also addressing the negative and figuring out how to maximize the positive, minimize the negative. And that's what you got to do, and keep repeating said process. And hopefully by the end of this thing, we're in a better position than we are right now, and we're making a run for it. But that is a part of it. But we are definitely closer to the good side than the finishing of the top 5 in the draft side, from my perspective. Man, I tell you what, when I be researching during these games, man, my mouth be so dry by the time we do these space talks, but I have all the water. Jeez. Now, when I go to bed tonight, be waking up pissing all night. Thanks a lot. But it's all good, baby. It is all good. Knight Rider 16. How about the O-line? Even giving Pickett time to have a chance to make those throws. Run blocking could be better. And I would like to see more of Jalen Warren on early downs. Nah, man, you're absolutely right, dude. Salute the offensive line, man. I thought as a whole, they gave Kenny pretty good time. Obviously, Kenny was sacked, twice? I think it was Jalen Phillips. I know he had the one. Shout out to Jalen. I'm liking his game. And then the other one was, Christian Wilkins. He was the other one who had the half with Jalen. But shout out to Jalen, man. We talked about him in our 5-star matchups, right? We said, man, he's the only one that you have to worry about in terms of winning one-on-one pass rush consistently. Dude had 8.5 sacks a year ago. He's coming off of a really high performance against the Vikings. We saw that continue. Christian Wilkinson was the second guy that could win one-on-ones, but was more of a run defender than a pass rusher. Obviously, he gets the half sack and stuff like that. So that kind of held true with those two guys in particular, man. But offensive line, man, yeah, I definitely thought that they communicated well. Kenny didn't take a ton of shots. It wasn't a ton of pressure and duress that Kenny was under, so I definitely like that. And yeah, they do got to improve with the run blocking, but I do think that at times they were better today. I thought at times our running game looked better today. I mean, there was one point where, let's see, Najee ends up finishing with 3.8 per carry, but as a team, 23 rushes, 95 yards, but 4.1 yards per tote. Now, we know Kenny Pickett had 3 for 20, and that kind of gave you, that adds to the rushing average. But it was a point in time in the game where Najee was averaging about 4.2, 4.4 yards per tote. So you definitely like that, man. That was, like I said, impressive by the offense line in terms of just having their best output in that specific area. Now, could they continue to be better with that? 100%. But that was definitely something that, we're talking about their progression, right? It's not linear, but we can point to it and say, hey, man, where we're at right now, this is a lot better today than where we were week 1 and where we were in that preseason. So we can definitely see them continuing to improve. And yeah, man, Jalen Warren on early downs, I'm with you, man. I'm with you. I would definitely like to see more of that. But like I said, context. Remember, we're seeing Najee. This was one of those games where he really stepped it up, man. It wasn't a full performance that we would want, but this was a lot better than what we have been seeing from him. So that's the part where it's like, man, we keep getting that. Jalen is continuing to improve. Jalen's going to keep getting more opportunities. You're not going to be able to keep him off this field, man. This dude is explosive as heck, man. He can pass protect. You saw that highlighted in the game. He can catch. He plays the game the way it's supposed to be, man. Yeah, shout out to Jalen, man. But yeah, he's definitely one of those guys we're going to start seeing a lot more of, man, because he's definitely earned it, man. The consistency is there. You've heard Coach Tomlin speak on him, and you can see how they trust him. And some of these got to have his situations as well. So yeah, man, I'm definitely with you on the Jalen Warren. Get him more opportunities train. Lou Bo. Even with the missed interceptions on defense, you should be able to fall on your QB to make plays. We had enough time. I don't think we can fully depend on him. Like in college, he got good year 5. So we're going to wait 5 years? Well, we don't have to wait 5 years, but can we at least get through the first year? That's all I'm saying, man. This is what, four games? They play this second half of the thing on the Jets joint. Buffalo, half of Tampa, and then down here. So kind of like 3.5 if you count the second half of the Jets and the first half of the Bucs game. It's not a lot of football. So I'm sure for the people that watched a ton of him in college, you might have that predetermined notion for him, and that's fine. And y'all could be 100% right, and I could be 100% wrong. But at this level, like I said, I don't care about the college body work. I want to see what does he do in the NFL. 3 to 4 games debatable of football for Kenny. I think I've seen some good stuff from him. I've seen some stuff where he struggles. But I don't think I've made a decision where it's like, yo, we should write him off right now. I don't think I'm there just yet. And yes, with the way the defense played, you should be able to lean on a quarterback to get you out of a stadium. But this is a rookie quarterback. And what do we say about rookies? They're not going to always be consistent. They're not. This is what rookies do. Some weeks they're going to play well. Some weeks they're going to execute that 4-minute offense the way that Mitch Trubisky did last week, and we're going to be over here hollering about how good this guy is. And then sometimes that offense is going to look like how it looked today, man, and he's going to make a couple of bad passes at the end. It's going to cost you. You just hope that he minimizes the negative, improves and continues to expedite expanding on those positive plays, and we get him getting to his full potential sooner rather than later. But that is a part of who he is and what he has to go through this season. But yeah, I'm not sitting here saying that you wait 5 years to see that. Not at all. This is the NFL, baby. It's year to year. You know that. But you got to at least give him this opportunity. We can't just 3 games in, 4 games in, now we've seen enough. Nah, it can't be that, because you've already invested that first round pick in him. So you got to give him a chance to really show that he is either the guy or he is an absolute failure. But you're not going to be able to just, oh man, a couple of games in, cut that. Nah, you got to ride this wave, man. Right, wrong, and indifferent. So, just hold on for the ride. I'm right there with you, though, baby. I'm going to be holding on with you. You know that. I ain't going to leave you on the ride by yourself. I might be screaming and hollering, but I'm going to be with you, all right? I got your back. R. Barley, 18. Someone called Devlin Duck Hodges to come get all these wounded ducks. 8 is slinging 6 yards downfield. Tell me them hands ain't a big deal. Dude can't buy spiral. Oh, man. We done went back to the gloves. We going there on them. Oh, Lord. This is a part of it, man. This is a part of it. I'm not gonna sit here and act like I was studying how tight his spirals were and stuff like that. We could go when the All 22 comes out. We can go back and look at all that there. But just as a whole, man, he just got to play better. I think that's the common theme tonight, specifically with Kenny. Like I said, we saw some of the good that he had. We're not going to sit here and act like he was terrible. But at the same time, if we're not going to act like he was terrible, we're not going to act like he was great either. He was a rookie. He did some positive stuff that we can take away. We can hang our hat on some of the stuff that he did. But at the same time, he's going to have some negative, and that is highlighted even more so because of the time in which it happened. But at the end of the day, like, I don't think it makes or break my decision or my thoughts or confidence in him, because this is what young players do. I mean, think about this in the sense of Devin Bush, right? How many times with Devin do we talk about, man, some weeks he looks really good, some weeks he's struggling. Some weeks it's like, man, dude, is he a bust? And it's like, nah, man, we should extend him. But this is what younger players do. And not Devin now, because obviously it's different, but like talking like rookie year Devin, right? For those that can remember that. It was highs and lows. It was some plays look really good. Sometimes like, I don't know what's going on here. But he kept getting better, right? Then obviously the injury happened the second. The context from there kind of gets different for him specifically. But that's the growing pains. That's the ups and downs. Talk about Chase Claypool, right? Chase early on, he looked really good at times his rookie year. But then he also has some moments where it's like, we want a little bit more from him, right? TJ Watt, times his rookie year, man, he looked good. He didn't look like player of the year, TJ Watt, rookie year, but no, he had some moments, man. And with Kenny, it's the same concept. It's just he's at the quarterback position. And it's different. It's a lot more eyes on it. So, yes, we're going to feel it a lot more, but we can't always overreact in that sense, man. He's going to have some bad stuff happen because that's what it does in terms of when you're just making that jump from college to the pros. AJ Martinez says the defense was good overall. I'm working on a research paper right now. Shout out to you working on that research paper. Your multitask game is flawless. He says, so I'm in and out. On my attention to super chats, Miami has a good offensive line. Yeah, and that is something, too, that was different this week compared to what we have been seeing from them on tape. So remember, when we're talking about our five-star matchups, talked about Alex Highsmith, right? We said, man, he's either going to get Greg Little, Austin Jackson, who was their tackle, first-round draft pick from a year ago, coming back from IR, or Terran Armstead, who had missed the game and then came back. So Terran ends up playing. They signed a dude, Brandon Shell. I think that's his last name, if I remember correctly. But they signed him, and he ends up starting as well at the right tackle spot. So for Alex, man, it was a little bit different of a matchup, man. Terran's a really a lot better player. I thought that Alex still should have been able to have more pressure on him. I think we only ended up with the one QB hit, and that would have been Malik Reed, if I remember correctly. Yeah, Malik Reed was the only one that really have a QB hit. So, we obviously have to go back and look at the tape to see what was happening with the pass rush. But, yeah, Tua was not under a lot of duress tonight. Not at all. And that's definitely something that, we're talking about the Dolphins offensive line. I definitely thought we should have had an advantage there. I thought that was something that we were definitely going to be able to help offset some of the Dolphins' passing attack. But it actually ended up working out in the sense that our DBs kind of did the job for themselves. But, yeah, the pass rush wasn't as effective. Now, it wasn't a ton of quick game either. And that was the other part. Now, we'll go back and look at the All-22, and we'll be able to have a better understanding of that. But, yeah, it didn't feel like a ton of quick game. It was just kind of like, man, we're not winning. And, yeah, that's some of the inconsistency as well that we talk about, right? But it didn't kill us this game. But we saw how, in some of the other games where it's like, man, the highs and lows with that part, we got to be better. All right. Child of the Corn. Shout out to Child of the Corn, man. And shoot, all my scary movie people out there, man. I had a little scary movie marathon going on yesterday, too, man. Little Michael Myers, little Friday the 13th. Holla at the boy Jason. Man, it was a vibe, man. I got to get it in sometimes. And Children of the Corn just made me think of that, man. I might have to drop Children of the Corn, man. I ain't seen that in a minute. But yeah. So what's good, Moats? As a lifetime Steelers fan. And first off, salute you. Big time respect for them lifetime Steelers fans out there. You know that. As a lifetime Steelers fan, these losses seem more like us giving away W's than losing outright. Not our vibe also. any films you would like to see reviewed on my channel for the future. All right. Let me get back to you on them scary movie films I want you to review, because I know your movie game is right over there. I definitely got a respect for you for that. But yeah, I do agree with you. Tonight, I feel like we gave it away. We definitely, it was more on us than it was the Dolphins necessarily outright just beating us. That's some of the stuff in terms of why you hear my optimism and why that optimism has been here a lot this season. Because minus the Buffalo Bills game, a lot of our losses have been self-inflicted. It's moments that we can point to in each of these games where it's like, yo, we had ample opportunities right here. We had our chances, but it wasn't something that they did. We made the mistakes. We either threw the bad picks, or we, couldn't get a stop or shut down a run, on a 4-minute offense against the New England Patriots. Like, we did certain things in some of these games and stuff like that, man. So it's not necessarily making excuses, but the context does matter. But this is also a part of youth. This is a part of learning to win. This is standard. It's just not common practice here in Pittsburgh, because typically in Pittsburgh, we don't have mass changes or mass youth movement, so to speak. But right now, we are a young team. I don't like to have to keep saying it like that, but that's the case that we're in right now, man. There's not a lot of dudes that have playoff experience up here. There's not a lot of dudes that have a ton of winning experience up here, right? That have really been up here and just after game, year after year, it's like, yo, these dudes knows what it takes. Nah, they're figuring that thing out. But hopefully they will get this figured out sooner rather than later. But I really do feel optimistic about this team, though, man, continuing forward this season, because you can see some of the stuff. You can see some of the talented players that they have. It's just not every time. It's not for 4 quarters. And at this level, when you're playing inconsistent ball, you open yourself up for these type of opportunities, or to feel like we let games slip away, so to speak. Jaheim Johnson, he says, James Pierre and Devin Bush been looking real good these past 2 games. Facts, man. I thought both of them played well tonight, especially 5-5, man. Salute the homie. Nah, man, Devin Bush definitely, thought both of those dudes these past couple of games, yeah, they have been. They've been flying around. When I think on James Pierre, I just love his intensity, man. You watch him play, he is always fired up, man. He makes a play, he's going to let you know it. He makes a tackle, he's going to let you know it, When we're talking about Devin Bush, man, I know people have said there's a correlation between the hair like Samson. I said when that fro started coming back, he started playing better. The fro was a little boofy today. He been all right. So I'm saying, man, maybe that is the case. Don't cut the hair ever again, baby. Don't do it. Don't touch it. But he played fast, man. Run game looked good. Pass game looked good. This is the Devin that you want. This is the Devin that we all expected to have. So it is good to see that from him and starting to be more consistent. Now let's keep it going. But like I said, man, he's been on his, couple of game streak, man, where he's been putting together some really productive plays in the running game and the pass game. And we need more of that from him, man. As a whole, this defense is better when he plays like that. And that's the reality of it, regardless of what we decide to do as a team offseason wise in terms of do the Steelers re-sign him or let him leave. That's, a different scenario. But for right now, this team needs him to keep playing like he's doing and continuing to improve, man. So, no, I definitely want to shout 5-5 out, man. Absolutely. Lou Bo, we couldn't get Artie Burns, right? Yeah, that's fine. But we got TJ Watt, right? We got Bud Dupree, right? So, hey, man, we all right. Okay. You ain't going to always be 100% in anything. But the optimism, you can take a negative approach, and I don't know, you might be able to get some positivity out that negative. But I personally don't see that. I see positivity breeds more positivity. Negativity is going to breed more negativity. So if we stick with the negative mindset, we're going to get negative results. It's that simple to me, baby. The energy that you give. All right? So let's keep it positive. But I do understand the skepticism at times, especially if you're talking specifically DBs. That is a different conversation. But the last first-round quarterback we drafted did kind of work out well, so we will see. Now, granted, I'm not saying Kenny is 7, but just doing the whole, let's compare and contrast, pick up different people. That's all, man. All right, Jerry Ramos. This loss hurts. We are so close. We just have to finish drives. I'm not giving up. After the bye schedule gets much easier, go Steelers. 100%. And that's the thing. It's like, we're in the quote unquote gauntlet of the schedule. And we knocked off the Bucks. This is a game that we definitely feel like we should have got up out of. So it's like, man, it is not this. It's not as negative as it might feel in this particular moment right now when you're looking at the context of where we're at and also a big picture perspective. Now, we're not saying that you can continue on operating without the detail in some of these little areas, right? Or having some of the self-inflicted issues. We can't keep doing that. But when you're talking about why to feel positive, when you're talking about why this team can be relevant this season, these are the tangible things. We're not asking for magic or miracles. We're not asking for people to go out there and make astronomical trades. No, we're just simply saying, bro, make better decisions here. You guys capitalize on that. And as a whole, we need to be more consistent in this area. It's like I said, it's not a ton that we're asking for right there. It's not, man. But can we do those things? That's the part. Can we score touchdowns in the red zone? That's the part. Can we effectively run the ball? That's another part of this thing, right? So we have those elements that are very true questions. Absolutely very true. And they have not been answered just yet. And we're not absolving that. No. But we are just understanding the context of everything surrounding it. R. Barley 18. I'd be more optimistic if he had any elite traits. He doesn't. Not elite arm, not elite accuracy or size. Have to hope he develops a Manning or Brady mind. Not holding my breath, in my opinion, though. No, that's fine. When you're talking about elite traits, that's cool. I don't spend a lot of time caring about elite traits necessarily. I look for productivity. And productivity can come in the form of multiple ways. We talk about Ryan Tannehill, Kirk Cousins. Those are productive quarterbacks, but are they elite in the sense of Patrick Mahomes, Josh Allen? Nah. But they're still good guys that you can win with. You talk about a Jimmy Garoppolo, right? You win with him. But what's his elite trait? He got that rock star look. You know how Jimmy G do out there. But other than that, it's like, yeah, we ain't hollering about an elite with Jimmy. Mac Jones, same concept, right? It's like, he does some dope things, but we're not hollering elite, but you feel like you can still win with those guys. So it's not necessarily about the intangibles, because we could point to Trevor Lawrence, who has all these elite qualities. Zach Wilson, elite qualities, right? Justin Fields, in a sense, elite qualities. But we're looking at those guys, and they have question marks. The productivity, the consistency with the decision-making. That's some of the stuff, man. And we're going to see, of all these rookies, all these young quarterbacks, first, second-year guys, who of that bunch can be the more consistent ones? And those are the guys that will be able to rise and be the quote-unquote elite tier. But you don't always have to have elite characteristics to be an elite quarterback or an elite player. You just got to be productive. You got to have the consistency. You got to have that moxie. You got to have that ability to just not waver in some of those moments as well, man. So, like I said, I understand that you might not believe that Kenny can do that. I personally don't have a decision one way or the other if he can, because it's only been 3.5, 4 games from him. So, yeah, I'm not going to prematurely make that type of statement. But that's my decision. So I can understand for you, maybe taking a different approach right there. But either way, salute you. All right, and then we got Autumn McCady. Shout out to Autumn as well. Hey, Moats. Matt Canada needs to go. Our offense is boring and predictable. Honestly, I feel like something fundamentally needs to change in this organization. Now, when you talk about fundamental changes, sure, we can really do that. And I'm for it, just not in season, and not in a season where we're looking and we're not losing games because we're not good enough. We're losing games because we're not having the full detail that we need. The detail element, the little elements, that's the part where you find that optimism, because that is something that they can grasp. That is something that they can figure out. That is something that they can do better consistently. Problem is, how long is it going to take? We do not know that just yet. So that's the uncertainty that makes us feel like, hey, man, if I don't know, let me just go ahead and X this right now. So they don't have to worry about it. I can feel more, comfort in the sense of we don't have it. So if it doesn't work out, now it's no excuse. We just know we're going to suck right now because of this. I get it. I personally don't want to take that approach, though. I want to see what this dude can do in terms of Matt Canada. I want to see if this offense can pick it up, because we see flashes. But the consistency is what we need more of, man. We got to have more consistency. But we've been saying that. So I'm with you. We just got to have it, though. But this is part of it. Then we got Lou Bo. Have you noticed the high throws from Pickett? He threw a pass to Deontay tonight. It went high. Is that his hand size? That don't scare you? I mean, if I was going to react to every single throw that he made, sure, I'm sure that could scare me. But I don't react to every single throw that he makes because he is a rookie quarterback, and rookies are going to have bad throws. They're going to throw in the double covers. They're going to have high throws. They're going to have low throws. They're going to have throws where it's like, man, what are you looking at right here? Then they're going to have throws where it's like, yo, this is exceptional. They're going to have throws where it's like, yo, this is great touch right here. This looks good. That's rookies. So I can't praise him when he throws a touchdown pass, or praise him when he makes a nice throw on third down, or praise him when he pulls the ball down and picks up a first down with his legs. I can't praise him in those moments and then act as if I did not know, on the other hand, that a rookie could make a mistake in a game, that a rookie could have a bad throw in a game, that a rookie could make bad decisions throwing the ball that cost you, possessions at the end. That's a part of it. But we said that when you make this move, when you made it, you don't allow him to fully learn from just a visual perspective. You don't allow him to learn in a safe environment, right? In terms of, hey, man, starting next offseason, you're going to get every one rep from OTAs, minicamp. We're going to design an offense specifically for you from the spring all the way till the regular season. Every training camp rep in the ones you're going to get. He didn't get that, but that's a part of it. So when you put him out there and we're talking about his inconsistencies, when you're talking about his decision making, when you're talking about Matt Canada specifically calling plays for him, all of that kind of goes into it because you did what? You made a mass change on the fly. So even though we want him to be better in these areas, and even though some people might feel that he should be or can be better than him right now, the reality is these are going to be, in terms of his particular growing pains in this situation that he's in right now, it is going to be a little bit more heightened because he didn't have a full, hey man, we're going to prep you and baby you and put the most, perfect scenario for you to walk into. We didn't do that. We kind of threw him into the fire, and this is what you're getting. You're getting trial by fire. So sometimes it's going to look good, sometimes not so good. But either way, we got to roll with it, at least for this season, to see, how he comes out on the other side. But that's a part of it, though. It's definitely a part of it. Ryan Durant. Hey, Moats, let's get it. I like our squad, too. We're going to bounce back. No, facts we are, man. Like I said, it's not something that we have to enjoy because, trust me, I don't enjoy this at all. At times, it's like, bro, I don't want to watch this. I'm not going to lie to you. But at the same time, it's like, yo, I get it. This is a part of putting together a roster, man. It's a part of finding that championship team. This is a part of understanding who you build around long term and who you move on from. But you have to kind of go through these scenarios, these nasty type of feelings where it's like, dude, are we good? Are we kind of like bad, bro? Like, I don't know right now. That's a part of it, man. That's a part of it. So, when in doubt, it could get to the point where you just start doing drinking games. It ain't there just yet, though. We good, baby. We ain't there just yet. All right, context. Yeah. Oh, and then we got the homie R. Bolly spinning the block one more time. R. Bolly 18. Let's get it. Give me Trevor Lawrence with our weapons. He ain't talking about a loss right now. First round pick shouldn't be, maybe we can win someday with him, in my opinion. Again, I hear you. What was Trevor Lawrence last year? Oh, Urban Meyer, I know that, but who plays in the game? Trevor Lawrence. What was he last year? When you answered that, and you could tell me for 17 games where he was perfect, where he didn't have a ton of turnovers, where people weren't looking at him, asking, is he really the guy that's going to be able to put it together? If that was the case, great, but it wasn't even for him. So if he wasn't, and he had all the traits and talent and all this other stuff, why do we expect Kenny? Why are we holding Kenny to this unrealistic expectations, unrealistic standard that we weren't even holding Trevor Lawrence to? I get we're frustrated, yes. But at the same time, it's like we can't lose sight of context and realism. And that's the stuff that we kind of lose sight of because of the emotion. And that's fine. But we just have to remember that in terms of when we are talking about it, man. So we will see, though. We will definitely see. All right. Oh, dang, it's 1 o'clock. I like it, man. Let's see what we got over here, though. Know your boy. He says, in terms of Trevor Lawrence, says he can grip a football. All right. M3 details. Trevor is different and younger. No, the age element, very true. He is younger, and I do like that part of it. Sure. What we're speaking specifically to is the decision making, the consistent accuracy, the always looking like QB1, right? We're talking about those specific things because that's what we're talking about with Kenny right now, right? Multiple interceptions, not the best in terms of consistency. Trevor Lawrence, last season, those exact same things were constantly brought up around him. Zach Wilson, those exact same things were brought up around him. Justin Fields, brought up around him, the exact same thing. So it's one of those things where it's like we can act as if this is only a Pittsburgh thing, it's only a Kenny Pickett thing, or we could be a little bit more realistic and understand that, hey, man, this isn't just a young quarterback in Pittsburgh problem. This is what young quarterbacks do. They struggle at times. They look really good at times. But either way, we hope that we got one that's going to figure it out because we can't always say that, oh, they always figure it out because no, we know they don't always figure it out. And that is a part of what we're trying to see what we have in Kenny. But you can't make that decision after 4 games. That's the part that's kind of crazy. Alrighty. And yes, it is 1 o'clock. So let me dab my sweat off my forehead real quick. I'm going to read that last one. And after I do that, give me some rest because, man, we got to get this podcast popping off tomorrow, man. You know that. But Cameron Strader says, these casuals, man, Moats knows ball, all love. Man, you know I greatly appreciate you. And I don't care casuals or not, man. You know we up here just talking shop, having a little fun. And I love the perspectives, though. You know that. Because we do need perspective. And I just got a different perspective at times than some of the others. But either way, it's all welcome. So with that being said, though, I do appreciate each and every one of y'all for rocking with me tonight. If y'all haven't done so, make sure y'all like the stream on the way out. Subscribe if you have not. And hit that notification bell. But either way, man, I appreciate the heck out of each and every one of y'all. And until next time, baby. Peace.